Отправляю прямо сейчас. Candle the closet that wasn't in the room. Part 1, Edget/English. I moved into a new apartment last month. Nothing fancy, just a quiet, third-floor studio with creaky floors and a slanted window that overlooked the parking lot. I took it because I needed silence. After the breakup, I wanted space. No more shared drawers. No more leftover toothbrushes. Just me alone, finally. The building was old brick, chipped in places. 3 stories, 6 units, and an elderly landlord named Gerald, who always wore the same gray cardigan, even in the June heat. He didn't say much, just handed me the keys and said, "Some things in here are better left untouched." I laughed. I thought he meant the dusty ceiling fan or the ancient radiator in the corner. Turns out he meant the closet, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The first 2 nights were fine. Quiet, uneventful. I unpacked slowly, box by box, making the place mine. Hung up a single painting, an abstract canvas of blues and grays. Set up a mattress on the floor, no frame, no bedposts. Just simplicity. And then came night 3. It started with a sound. Click. Soft. Metallic. Like a latch being opened from inside a wall. I froze. Paused the podcast I was listening to. Silence. I got up, walked around the apartment, checked the windows, the door, even the kitchen cabinets. Nothing. Just me and the creaky wood beneath my feet. But as I turned to go back to the mattress, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A door. Not the bathroom. Not the coat closet by the entrance. This one was near the far corner, almost tucked behind the radiator. A small, white door with a brass knob. I swear to you, it wasn't there before. I stared at it for a long minute. Something felt off. It didn't match the rest of the room. The paint was too fresh, the edges too clean. But I'm not superstitious. At least I wasn't then. So I walked over and turned the knob. It opened with a low groan. Inside was a narrow closet. No shelves, no bar to hang anything. Just empty space about 4 feet deep. Bordeaux. And at the back, a small, circular hole in the plaster. I leaned in. It smelled musty, like old fabric and wetwood. I should have shut the door right then, but I didn't. Instead, I left it open and went to bed. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up gasping. The room was ice cold, and I swear, the closet door was wider than I'd left it. My heart was racing. I told myself it was just my imagination. Drafts, settling wood, whatever. But as I turned over, I saw something that made my blood freeze. A long, thin shadow stretched from the closet, all the way to the foot of my mattress, like something was standing just inside, watching. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, and then nothing. I must have passed out or fallen asleep, I don't know. The next morning, the closet was closed. I convinced myself it had been a dream, maybe even sleep paralysis. Those things happen, right? I went about my day. Did laundry, bought groceries, ignored the cold spot in the corner of the room. But that night, I put a chair against the closet door, just in case. At 2:41 a.m., the chair moved. I heard it. SCCCCRRKKK. Like it was being dragged across the floor. I sat up, and there it was, the chair, 2 feet away from where I'd placed it, and the closet door slightly ajar. The rest of the week was a blur of anxiety. I stopped sleeping. I'd wake up to hear faint breathing, slow and ragged from behind the door, sometimes whispering, low, too soft to make out. Once I pressed my ear against the wood. I thought I heard my name. That night, I packed a bag and stayed in a motel. When I came back 3 days later, the closet door was gone, like it had never existed. I tore up the corner where it had been, tapped on the walls. Nothing, just smooth drywall and paint. I even called Gerald. He came up, looked around, and said, "There's never been a closet in that corner. Not in the 30 years I've owned this place." I didn't argue, didn't tell him what I'd seen, just nodded and tried to pretend I believed him. That night, I didn't sleep, not because of fear, because of what I found. A single brass knob, lying in the center of the room, cold to the touch, and on the inside of the closet, which supposedly didn't exist. I heard breathing. Still, I didn't throw the knob away. I should have. Every rational part of me screamed to get rid of it. But something about it held me like a weight in my palm. I placed it in a drawer beneath socks and receipts. Tried to ignore it. Tried to believe Gerald. Tried to sleep. 3 nights later, I heard it again. Click. That unmistakable sound of something unlocking from inside the wall. But there was no door, no frown, nothing. Just a smooth, painted surface in the corner and the feeling of being watched. I slept with the lights on that night. Didn't help. At exactly 3:12 and the same time as before, the power cut out. Everything went black. And in that blackness, I heard footsteps, slow, measured, crossing the room, coming toward me. I grabbed my phone, flicked on the flashlight. No one, but the temperature had dropped again. Frost was forming on the inside of the window pane. And then I saw it, a crack in the wall, right where the closet had been. Thin, jagged, like something had forced its way out or was trying to get back in. I ran. The next morning, the crack was still there. I took photos, sent them to my brother. He said it looked like stress damage. Old buildings settle, he said, but he didn't hear the breathing, or the scratching, or the voice. Yes, the voice. It began as whispers, barely audible, but always the same rhythm. For syllables, then silence. For more. And always at 3:12 m. I started recording audio at night. Most files had nothing, just static or room noise. Until one morning, I listened back and heard. Let me back in. Clear, right near the microphone, like someone had leaned in and whispered. I moved out the next day. The new place was fine. Modern, clean, white walls, big windows. But I couldn't sleep. Every night, I woke up at 3:12 m. No sound, no reason. Just an overwhelming pressure, like being underwater. I tried everything. White noise, sleeping pills, therapy. Nothing worked until one night. I dreamed of the closet. In the dream, I was back in that room. But everything was off. The painting was crooked. The mattress was gone. And in the corner, the closet door, wide open. Inside, someone was standing, not facing me, just standing. I called out. No response. Then they turned, and it was me, pale, hollow-eyed, mouth moving but no sound. I woke up screaming. The next morning, the brass knob was on my nightstand. I had never unpacked that drawer, never brought it with me, and yet there it was. I threw it away, into a public trash can, miles from home. That night, I came home to find the front door open, lights off, Everything's still and quiet, except in the center of the living room floor, the brass knob. Waiting, I started hearing the clicking again, not just at night, in elevators, parking garages, hotel rooms. Once in a grocery store bathroom. Always the same sound. Click, groan, whisper. I began to think maybe I hadn't escaped. Maybe the closet didn't belong to that room. Maybe it followed me. I stopped sleeping altogether. Started working nights, sleeping days. Still, the whispers came. And worse, reflections. Mirrors, windows, puddles. Sometimes I'd see someone standing behind me, just for a blink, but they always looked like me, wrong versions of me, smiling when I wasn't. I checked myself into a clinic, sleep studies, observation. They said I had a dissociative episode, stress, trauma, lack of REM cycles. I nodded, but I knew the truth. The closet hadn't been in that room. The room had been in the closet. I'm writing this from a motel 2 states away. I switch locations every few nights. Never stay long, never unpack. Always wash the corners. But tonight, at 3:12 a.m. sharp, the doorknob clicked. Not the motel's. Mine, the brass knob, sitting on the table, turning, slowly,